Hi, welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel,
I'm Scott.
the show where we talk about Critical Role, Season 2. In this episode, Episode 9,
Steam in Conversation.
I remember the days when they didn't have a name for the episode until after it aired.
Yeah, that actually wasn't that long ago. First thing I would like to do, though, congratulations to Critical Role. Yesterday was the 3-year anniversary from the first airing.
Yep.
Matt had posted something on Twitter about it. There was a few other things here and there. It's been a great 3 years. I've been a fan for most of that.
Yeah, I think I
episode-
watched their inaugural episode.
I think it was 6 or 7 where I started watching, somewhere in there. Really easy for me to catch up.
Yeah, when you told me that, I was thinking about making a joke, saying, yesterday wasn't Thursday.
But it was 3 years ago.
Yes, it was.
So congratulations. Love the show. Thanks for putting it on the air for us.
Yeah, and mostly I think I thought of that joke because I didn't realize until after lunch today that the rest of the United States is observing daylight savings time, but we don't. And I was like, oh, if we go live at 7 p.m. our time, that's the time that Talks Machnia is going to be on.
And we don't want to do that because we want to watch Talks.
Yeah. So that's why the time joke was in my brain. So, I don't know if we had any hard predictions for
No.
this episode.
But there was one thing I brought up as an idea last week that I believe, at least in my mind, was confirmed this week.
It was your chains moment. Yeah.
Yes. I still say I have more evidence for mine than you do for the Fae.
Yeah, the Fae is looking more and more unlikely. I cling to hope.
And that is that Caleb is part of the regime and is in hiding. We had talked about that. We talked about it at dinner last week, and you'd mentioned on show that, well, why would he want to go to the big city? And I made the reference that in a small town, people may not, may not know you immediately, but everybody knows you.
Yeah, everybody.
Whereas in a big town, especially if you're covered in the filth and looking, you're not going to be looked at by the people who are going to know you.
Yeah.
And I think that all the stuff we saw out of Caleb this week just pushed more evidence onto that pile. That wait. I may not be sticking around if you guys are about fame. I don't want to be known.
Well, when you say he's part of the regime, do you mean the regime of
The aristocracy.
Zimian? Or where's he from?
Zimian.
Yeah. Or
That,
do you mean, well, because I don't think he's Dwendalian Imperial. Otherwise, he would have known about not getting into that part of town.
That's true, but he is part of. I think he's part of that, upper echelon, and he's probably had dealings with the Dwendalian Empire.
Yeah.
Because that's why in a big town, someone might know him. That's why he doesn't want the fame.
Yeah.
He's definitely part of the old regime. He's definitely part of the upper echelon, the nobles, the assholes on the top rung.
Okay.
He may not be Dwendali, but he's close enough with Dwendali that he's afraid of being noticed.
Yeah.
And, I think he flat out lied when he and Jester were in that fight, and he was like, that's more money than my parents made in their whole lives. He was flat out lying. Just like Jester was flat out lying that she said that was her allowance every day. They are both committed to their roles, and they're both lying.
You think so?
I would put money on it.
All right. I I think Caleb grew up poor. Maybe he can trace his lineage to nobility, but I don't think he had money. I think that's definitely true.
You can be noble and not have money.
True. I'm not arguing that.
You can be titled and not have money.
Look at Knight's Tale.
Exactly. And you don't even have to start out as a Thatcher. You can start out as nobility, but if your father or grandfather ran your family coffers dry, and the only hope that you have is marrying some other wealthy family because of your title to keep your family afloat, he could be from that kind of a situation.
Yeah. The Darringtons.
There you go.
Like
yeah. You know, that's why he didn't want his clothes cleaned and mended. Because the nicer his clothes look, the more likely someone is to look at him.
Yeah. I think he's definitely in hiding. And
he's definitely in hiding, and he's definitely in hiding from the 1%.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's why he's got the mud, because he knew it. I think Liam knew it was only a matter of time before someone prestidigitationed him.
Yeah.
And Caleb would have known that too.
Yeah. Which, in retrospect, is why he grabbed those 2 handfuls of mud.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think Caleb's been honest about his past whatsoever. I don't think Jester's honest about her past. I mean, there's probably been some truths in each of these, but the majority of what they're saying is lies.
Okay.
And same with Molly.
Yes. Well, and on Talks,
Taliesin all but admitted that.
Yeah, he's like, I've got like a dozen stories to tell these idiots.
Yeah. He's like, well, they asked how much was bullshit. He said 100%. So Taliesin is at least admitting it. Jester, I almost want to believe is delusional.
Man. Okay. Yes, I can see that.
She may not even be the daughter of the Ruby. She may be a daughter of one of the other courtesans, or she may be just an urchin that latched onto the idea of, oh, my mom is this. You know how the orphan who's always like wants their mom to be someone famous?
I had not considered that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think that's Jester's thing. That's why she makes up all these fantastical. It's the typical orphan fantasy background.
Huh.
And that's why she doesn't get any money from mom.
Well, that's a time thing.
It could be a time thing.
Well, no, but I mean, it took them that long to get from where they were to there. And her letter had to go back to where she's from.
Do you think if there had been more time that she would have gotten the money?
We'll find out in 4 days. Because Matt doesn't drop the upcoming events of the town by the town crier without some idea that the players are going to want to get in on that.
Yeah.
Especially the pit fight.
Yeah. And now that Yasha's back, and she's at least going to be back for a full episode.
Yeah.
Because they did say we'll be back next week with Ashley Johnson.
Yep. I'm excited for that.
Me too. Because we've opened up some new possibilities about Yasha.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we touched on them. We were going over potential paths.
We touched on them, yes. But we were opened up to new possibilities through the role play, is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And when she started talking
our
about...
speculations were given some weight.
I'm still leaning towards Path of the Ancestor, that's the one that didn't get any extra evidence. And I'm still basing that on just like... She's kind of the brash, rude type, but she's protective.
Yeah.
And that is the protective barbarian.
Yeah.
And I see that as something that... And I don't know Ashley personally, so I can't, but what I've seen of her in interviews and in playing and all that stuff, her Twitter account and all that, not that I'm stalking anybody online, she seems like the type of role that she would like to play, that she would enjoy playing.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
they were talking about gods and which ones are allowed.
Yeah, and on the rewatch, now when I first watched it, I thought, oh, well, yeah, so there's evidence for Zealot.
Well,
which we had talked about.
I talked to you at our Sunday night game.
Yeah.
I said, hey, what do you think about her being a zealot from that?
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, wow.
Yeah. And on my rewatch, though,
You thought something else.
yes,
Which also fits with this particular god.
Storm Herald.
So.
And my money's on Storm Herald.
Okay.
And if she does want to do the protective thing, she can go cold.
Yeah.
Because they're the aura at 7th level, I think, grants temporary hit points to your allies.
Yeah.
So in that way she can buff her allies. But I have a feeling she's gonna do C.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I can't wait for that. Because the first time she kicks that aura on, I want to see Ford have his own PTSD episode.
And, you know, and the nice thing about the Storm Herald, though, is you can change which element you're attuned to at every level. So through 4th level, you could have all the sea benefits. 5th level, you could do desert. 6th level, you can switch to frozen. 7th level, you can switch back to sea. So you can alter it depending on where you're at. That's you know, the versatility of that path.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Storm, and I think we'll find out next episode.
yes.
I think we're going to get an Ashley heavy episode.
I'm hoping.
I think we will because Matt likes to give each player time in the spotlight. And the other players like to give each other time in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And
well, and I think they are jonesing for Yasha as much as we are.
Yeah. And Ashley's had the first episode plus 2 half episodes.
Yeah.
And we're on episode 9 going into 10. So
Yeah.
Ashley's got her due coming.
Yep. I think.
And of course, for some reason, they're having her on Talks tonight. I don't know why about that.
Yeah, I was joking with him Sunday about that. I was like, oh no, it was last night.
Last night. On our Monday night game.
Yeah. I was like, do you think, how many questions do you think they got that she's going to be like, you'll have to watch the show?
And I think there'll be a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of what path did you take? There's going to be a lot of questions about her and Bo.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was gonna
All
bring
the
that up.
shippers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially after that bath scene. No, you get out. I want to check. No, I want to check you out. Mercer's, did I get a nice view?
Yeah.
I think we'll get some questions for Travis regarding the baby announcement and his one shot.
Yeah, because they asked Laura about
They talked to Laura about it, but you know, and she even said that that's how they announced it to the rest of the party.
Yeah, and I joked with you. I was like, does that mean Grog's game is a predestination paradox?
Yes.
Are Ford and Jester meant to be together?
Yes.
Jester
seems to want it. She flirts with Ford
Yeah.
a little more and a little differently than with anyone else.
That's true. Yeah.
But in a sense, it's almost like the schoolgirl crush on the friend's older brother or something. So I don't know if it's something that's going to pan out in the long run.
I mean, they haven't made it to 5th level. I don't think anything. I don't think anything can be said to be long run until after you hit there.
But if that one shot is anything, it is possible.
Yeah. Well, normally we go through the episode, and this time we're kind of all over the place.
We are.
So we talked about Let's see. How do we do?
I think we need to talk about the Knights of Requital.
Yes. And I know you have some observations, and I have my own. So let's start there.
Let's start there. So they're in the bar. They're in the Leaky Tap. They've met with Claudia. They're coming down. This girl comes up. Hey, we still, and there's all these jokes about, oh, is it an orgy? Hey, are you holding secret meetings? Let's just talk about this out loud. Yeah. Which I still don't know why players do that. Just this week in our game, we had a player wanted to talk about murdering someone for money in the middle of it. I'm like, well, let's not do that now since everybody's watching us. No, why not? Let's.
Yeah.
That was fun. And I had a few thoughts go through my mind over the course of this coming out, this storyline. My initial thought, Ford and Bo go down, and everyone's just looking at them weird, and then just welcomes them in, which was weird. But that kind of scene initially made me think of the People's Front of Judea in The Life of Brian when he goes to that meeting, which is the spoof on the IRA. And
yep.
So that's initially where I thought, although Critical Role isn't usually that comedy heavy, at least not that style of comedy.
Yeah, that's true.
But just that scene.
Well, at the table they tend to go there, but not narratively.
Right.
Yeah.
But the opening of the scene made me think of that.
And after my first viewing and our talking over the weekend and last night, I agree with you. But on my rewatch, I noticed something to defend their reaction. Because when we talked originally, I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
If you're living in an oppressed country
and having a secret anti-regime meeting.
Yeah, you don't. Hey, how you doing? That's not how that happens.
Random person.
Yeah, but they weren't exactly random because when they met that group of people, they were coming down the stairs with the proprietress, who is a friend of theirs.
No, they didn't go down with. Oh, the girl, not the whole group.
Right.
That's true. That's true.
They came down the stairs with the owner.
There were a small handful of people that were with the girl. That is true.
So on my second viewing, I softened a little bit. I was like, okay, their first brush with these people, they were coming down the stairs with the person who's giving them the room.
And while you can argue that, if I were them, I don't think it would soften my reaction.
Yeah, mine neither.
Just because they know that person doesn't mean they're not going to turn me in for.
Yeah, it could just as easily mean they're agents of the government and they suspect her of giving you the space.
Exactly.
But on the other hand,
it's an argument, but it's a weak one.
On the other hand, the narrative doesn't move forward unless they embrace them. Because I think
unless it's like the porn shop and it's an Ocean's 11 3-episode arc just to get in to the group. To quote Matt's Desire.
And that's why I say that's the narrative. That's the narrative.
Yeah. So we've got that opening part. Then as they get in, I'm thinking, well, that's not the narrative style. It's probably not going to be that kind of a thing. Just a knockoff. It's probably a subplot that like a side quest that they can or can't. You think it's going to be bigger than that?
Mm-hmm. Finish your thought, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. And so my thought was, the Knights of Requital. Sorry, I don't know why I cannot remember that name, but
it's an interesting choice.
Yeah, it's going to go one of two ways, I thought. Okay, either it's going to go the way of Spew in the Harry Potter books, and be a serious footnote, but a footnote nonetheless.
Okay.
Spew the Society for the Promotion of Elvish Welfare that Hermione starts in the books, not in the movies. You have to be literate to know about that. Or it's going to go Star Wars, and there's going to be a whole arc where they're the Rebel Alliance overthrowing the evil Empire. And that's where your thought is. So it's going to go one of those two ways, and I'm not sure.
And I'm going to weave it into the main speculation we have for this whole season.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, here's how this works.
Give it to me.
Just like the actions of Vox Machina, from their point of view, inadvertently led to the Chroma Conclave destruction of Taldore.
Yes.
Their
Thordak.
Yep. Their actions here are going to reverberate until the end. So, what we have in the Denalian Empire is an old empire.
Mm-hmm.
It's an old empire that has 6 approved gods.
Correct.
It is an old empire that on their public job board posts a monetary reward for proof someone's worshiping another god.
And we have a group with people who worship at least 2 unapproved gods.
Yes. Now, what we're going to have, and this is in large part because Matt is playing his players.
Okay.
The players, because they're American, have a love of freedom of religion. They have an idea of freedom. Also, the fact that not many of them are lawful this time means that they don't care about the society's rules in place.
Okay.
So they're automatically set up to be rebels. First time they're in the big city, they end up in a meeting with a group of potential rebels.
Okay.
Talking about unreasonable search and seizure, no habeas corpus, not being able to confront witnesses against you. These are all things that the colonists in America were pissed off about the British doing. And so I think he's... This
we
whole
mean
thing...
their love of Hamilton?
Yes, yes. And I think what's going to happen is they're going to get involved with this rebellion movement. And that is going to overthrow the establishment in such a way that the cult of the Chained Oblivion will have freedom to increase in power and to gain the things they need.
So you think this is going to be an episode 1, 2, 3 story arc, not an episode 4, 5, 6 story arc?
Well,
they're going to set it up for the Chained Oblivion to take command, not fight the evil and destroy the Republic.
No, I think what's going to happen is they're going to go through this. They're going to think they're creating a better world. They will be on the cusp of creating this better world.
Much like the people who give the power to the Chancellor in episode 3.
Yes.
So you're thinking an episode 1, 2, 3 arc. And while your points have merit, I would say that I could very easily argue your Americans love freedom of religion.
Well,
Americans love freedom of their religion.
Yeah, but I mean,
and want to oppress all others.
In large swaths of the country, but not on the West Coast. Yeah.
But we won't get political here.
I think, but yeah, I think that their attempt to better the empire or break it is gonna, because like you have to think, why is the empire the way that it is? Why does it set up these rules? And I think that's because at the foundation of the empire, they knew that whatever is the key to the Chained Oblivion's freedom is there.
Okay.
And that's one, like, Vecna's whole arc, the key people involved in that came from Wildemount.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's not an accident, and that's why I think that meeting is the whole arc of the campaign.
Okay. Okay. That's got some weight.
Yeah.
It's got more weight than the Fae. It's got more weight than Caleb being in the regime. So I will accept that as a speculation.
I don't think Jester. I don't think Laura realized how much time needed to pass before she went looking for her money from her mother.
I don't know that it was Laura that didn't realize so much as Jester. I don't think Jester has a concept.
Oh yeah, I can buy that.
And I think Laura's just playing into that concept.
Yeah.
You know, that lack of concept, I should say.
Yeah.
Though I do, especially after the last couple of episodes, really, really feel like Jester she's probably a folk hero background.
Yeah.
But she's probably an orphan with the delusions and the fantasies of, you know.
Well, I mean, I made the joke about Deadpool.
Yeah.
When she's talking about little itty bitty unicorns. Because that's what popped into my brain.
I'm sorry. Not a Deadpool fan, guys. Sorry if you are.
But yeah, maybe. I could see that she.
I think she probably grew up in that brothel where the Ruby of the Sea is.
Yeah. But was it really her mother?
But was it really her mother?
Yeah.
I would bet that she's, did do the disguised self and pretend to be the Ruby of the Sea and trick the Lord out onto the balcony in a corset, and that's why she had to leave, because that fits with the folk hero. He was probably an asshole tyrant, probably Caleb's cousin or something. Probably not, but he's the Lord that wants her dead, is like in the folk hero. But I think she was just either a waif in the brothel or the daughter of one of the prostitutes, but probably not that one. She probably made attached to that one because she was the famous one.
Yeah.
That's why she has the stories about the dressed up horse, about the pocket unicorns, about, that's why she,
So she's telling half-truths.
She's telling half-truths. She's telling, and I think she probably honestly believes them.
Yeah.
Well,
if they're delusions, she does.
I believe that, she probably is so enveloped in this, how people can get, whether orphans or not, if you want to believe something badly enough, it becomes real to you.
Yeah.
And not going to go there. Okay.
Because one of the things I was about to argue against the whole thing was that she paid 10 gold for that room for a night. But if she is delusional and really does believe that her mother is going to send her money there, mother is going to send her money there.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
She probably, she's really good at sleight of hand. She's probably been going around picking pockets in the brothel her whole life, so she probably had gold all the time.
Yeah. Maybe
not as much as she said she got for an allowance. Her allowance was probably picking the pockets of the drunk patrons.
Yeah.
But that's why she hoards the sweets. She probably had a lot of times where she went without as a kid. so she hoards the yummy food. That's why she has the pouch full of donuts and pastries.
Yeah.
You know, I that's just where the past few episodes, that's where I think Laura's coming from.
I can buy that. Yeah.
That's why she's latched on to Ford. They met up, he helped her, he's protecting her. She's away from her home environment.
Yeah.
That's why she talks to the Traveler.
Yeah.
The Traveler's the equivalent, is the like stereotypical imaginary friend that turns out to be someone real of the little kid.
So, on rewatching the episode today, that scene creeped me out a little bit.
Yeah.
And, like, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you know, because his face wasn't visible.
Right.
And her domain is trickery.
Yes.
Most deities that have trickery as one of their domains are not nice people. They're not good people. And so we talked about the possibility that Ford's patron is working with the servants of the Chained Oblivion to bring about
Or
the
as an
release.
aspect thereof.
Yeah. What if the Traveler is the same?
Do you think he's going to throw... I think it's going to be one or the other. I don't think they're both going to be.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to throw that many of the same hook at him.
That's true. It would be a little redundant.
I think it's more likely that the Kraken is than the Traveler.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it could be definitely. But yeah, you know, that scene, I'm thinking of things, you know,
What
all
if
the old movies where the the person that everyone dismissed as an imaginary friend turns out to be real.
Yeah.
And giving them power.
So we've been going on the assumption that the Traveler is named that because they are a deity of travel, of trade.
Mm-hmm.
What if he is called the Traveler because he is not from that world?
It could be.
That he is a deity from another world.
It could be. Or it could be someone, like, what's her name? Cash's god. That's not a deity per se, but a being of power, someone who's trying to attain godhood and will manipulate a follower.
Yeah.
Has a handful. Could be something like that.
That's true.
Which, with trickery, could make him a demon.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's a lot of things it could be. But it's definitely that scene gave me the vibe of this is the thing that started out as the imaginary friend but turned out to be a real individual later in life.
Yeah. And I got a similar vibe.
And
that it came to her while she was lonely.
And that clicked in all the other pieces for me, which makes me think that she's the wave, she's the...
I mean, regardless, I don't think she's going to get the money anyway.
Right.
Even if enough time passes.
No, and I don't either. That's why I questioned you when you said it's because there hasn't been enough time. That's a reason, but even if there had been enough time, I don't think she's going to have the money. Because I don't think the Ruby of the Sea is actually her mother.
Well, yeah. I mean, either way, whether she is her mother or not. Which also, if she's actually not, would sort of explain why she told them her mother wouldn't claim her.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that could have started back when she was down there.
Yeah.
She could have been like, yeah, that's my mom. And she's like, no, she's not mine.
Yeah.
Because she actually wasn't hers.
Yeah.
And, you know, and just to keep that delusion going, to keep that fantasy, she was like, oh, well, she's just doing it because it's not proper. So, you know, I'll be careful who I tell that to. Only tell it to a few people.
Yeah.
And just her whole personality speaks to that type of a individual.
Yeah. So, not being afraid of water. I was thinking about that.
Who do you think's afraid of air, and who do you think's afraid of earth?
We'll see when they fight it at the next elemental. So, here's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Is that something that Sam made up on the spot and is running with because it's funny? Or did he do enough research into goblins and the underground and the Underdark to know that dangerous things come out of the water?
No and no. Now, here's why I said that.
Okay.
I don't think it was made up on the spot. I think we saw a hint of that the last time she was at a bathhouse.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, that's when he made that up.
Oh, okay.
Was in that moment, and he's just continuing it forward.
I don't think so, because of the way. Because Matt said, "Do you get in the water?" And he's, "Oh no." It wasn't. Oh no. It was.
That's true.
He had that prepared. He knew he was not getting in the water.
That's true.
For whatever reason. So I don't think it necessarily
was made up on the spot.
It definitely wasn't made up on the spot in my mind. But I don't think Sam necessarily went and did a lot of research on goblins and the Underdark. With D&D Beyond, he may have asked some of the Wizards of the Coast peoples a little something here or there, but I don't think he did a ton of research. He may have done a little, not a ton. I think it has something to do with his backstory.
Yeah.
I think maybe his whole alchemy thing, maybe he learned it. He may be a guild artist in background, but maybe that wasn't allowed. That was considered like evil witchcraft, because, and I could be wrong in 5th ed, but in a lot of history with goblins, smarter goblins either hide it or get shunned if they're too smart. And maybe they tried to drown her because she was doing this stuff. Because that was her. I mean, she did say there's things in the water.
Like the old trial that they used to do for witches.
But she did say, no, you drown in water.
Yeah. You
can drown in that. So that was the initial thought that went through my head. Was, someone tried, when she said that, someone tried to drown her at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it was the other goblins or maybe some random bullies.
Yeah.
Wannabe adventurers came across her and tried to drown her.
It's probably her own people, because at the trial, she was like, "Yeah, I'll tell you where they're at."
Right. So.
Yeah.
I think it's more something like that. But no, it definitely was not made up on the spot.
I can see that.
I think just the way he said it made me think he had this planned. He would never,
Yeah.
And that's why he was so worried about Caleb every time he got a bath. Are you going to be the same? Are you going to... I don't think that's a joke. I think it's partially a joke about the dirty, but I think it's actual concern from the fear of water.
Yeah. And maybe her experience changed her.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that.
So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So yeah, we got more. I'm a little confused, I guess. Maybe I don't think that's the right word, but
Okay.
like
kerfuffled.
Like Bo has had a chip on her shoulder about the Cobalt Reserve from the outset.
Okay.
I thought maybe she got over that after her initiation into this order. But by the way she acted with Caleb in the archives, I don't know that that's necessarily the case.
I think that Bo doesn't know how to feel necessarily. I think she's been jilted a lot. She made the comment, you know, you only took me in because you only took me in because my dad was paying you, and I figured when the money dried up, he'd kick me out anyway.
Yeah.
So I think she's been shipped off by her parents. She's been shipped off, you know, by this and that. So she doesn't know what it's like to belong.
Yeah.
And so she's ready to assume that people don't want her. That's her go-to assumption.
Yeah.
And so she was like that with the Cobalt Reserve, because she's like, oh, you guys do want me?
Yeah.
And I think part of her has that feeling about the Mighty Nine. Especially like with Caleb and Molly.
Yeah.
That's why she's trying to figure out who they are before they can figure out who she is.
Yeah.
And
maybe that was more of a screen against Caleb than it was any feelings against the archives.
That's what I took it as. I think she's,
that.
You know, especially with that whole thing they got into. Well, maybe you would know what you were doing if you were around. You're always going off. What are you doing? You know, she got super defensive, super quick.
Yeah.
Because she's used to being pushed away. She's used to being, quote unquote, sold off to whoever will take her for a while.
Yeah. Molly, this episode, came off to me as a mix of George Carlin and Elam Garrick.
Okay.
Or if George Carlin played Elam Garrick.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because he outright admits that the reason why he wanted to go with them to the bathhouse was to basically find out their secrets.
Right.
But he also made the comment, I don't like groups of people. And George Carlin has a whole bit on that.
Yeah.
Where he's like, people are fine. A person is fine. A group of people are dumb.
Yeah. Which
is basically exactly what Taliesin said.
Yeah, he was definitely challenging the late, great Mr. Carlin.
I hadn't necessarily been excited about Molly until this last episode. And it was because of that whole thing.
Yeah.
I
mean, and he even says, I used to get people into groups all the time because they're idiots. That's why I got you guys together.
Yes. And I loved his line.
No.
You don't go to see, you go to a meeting in a basement, or you join a group in a basement, and now you want to do stuff. I thought that was funny too.
When you have a cause, then you want to do stuff. Here's my question though: when he says that's why I got you all together, is that in reference to episode 1 when he sat down with them and tried to get them to the circus, or is that in reference to him joining them later when they left the town together?
That was getting them to the circus.
Okay.
Bo took it as the latter, though, because she was like, "Well, you joined us. You brought us. We're here. You're here with us now."
There's a lot to be said for a group of idiots that can fight.
Yeah.
A group of idiots is easily manipulated, and if they can fight, you got your own squad. And, you know...
Speaking of easily manipulated and being able to fight, we got a first hint of who the gentleman may be.
Yes.
In that he is somebody dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not 100% convinced he's not with the government.
I'm leaning to he is in the government.
See, that's almost where I want to lead. But we also had the reward for myriad activity. So the myriad still are a thing. But like the way he's been presented so far, and maybe it's just because this is a sort of conspiracy theory show. But like my feeling is there's a quote by a DEA agent, or it's attributed to a DEA agent.
Okay.
And the quote basically is, every single major drug cartel activity I investigated had someone at the CIA behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the gentleman is that guy.
Yes.
If you watch The Punisher, he's Agent Orange.
Yeah. Mr. Pink and the Reservoir Dogs. Count Rugen in The Princess Bride.
Okay, yeah. That's better.
There's always the one. You know, yeah. Yeah, I think he's a Count Rugen type of character.
I can see that. And we are continuing to see the collapsing empire, the decadence.
Yes.
But there are a few good people. Because, what's her name? The proprietor of the inn.
Claudia Sheed.
Sheed.
Ali Sheedy.
Yeah. Even she said, by and large, they're good people. The Crown's Guard.
Yeah. Where
the players were trying to paint them as redcoats.
Yeah.
Essentially. They're all the bad guys. Despite having just worked for them.
Right.
Oh.
They have tons of money and they're lazy.
Did you watch Rome?
No. I've seen a couple episodes with you, but
okay.
I've not watched it in depth at all.
One of the things they did in Rome is they had sort of the town crier type of fellow. And he would stand up, he has his, basically the newspaper, what he's going to be reading in the announcements. And he's giving the news. And what's great is for large segments of what he's talking about, the audience has watched and is aware of the underhanded, dirty bullshit that's going on.
Gotcha.
And he is giving the sanitized, approved propaganda version.
Gotcha.
And what's great is that I think there's 4 episodes between when he's praising Mark Antony and Octavian Caesar and Cicero and all the Senate, to when, like a few episodes later, civil war has erupted. Antony has run off to Egypt. And he's giving Octavian's version of events.
Gotcha.
And it's a hot day, and he's the mighty Octavian, and the evil Mark Antony. And he's just, at the end of the thing, he's just like, ugh. And tosses it to his assistant. It's like, fuck. He just can't handle the amount of bullshit coming out of him.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if we're going to see anything like that. And like the funny thing is when they took offense to the report that the Crown's Guard saved the town of Allfield, it's not untrue.
No, it's not.
Because the Crown's Guard contracted these hired swords.
Right. And they wouldn't have done it without the money.
No.
They did it for the money.
Yep.
I think Ford did it for the people.
Yeah.
Because he was the one that was like,
and
hey,
Caleb.
We've got to go. People, guys, the people are dying. We could just go.
Yeah.
Where everyone else was like, oh, let's, what about the ears? What about this?
Yeah.
And I think to a degree Molly as well. I still think Molly is the best of the group as far as morally.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. Well, yeah.
Well, at least as far as integrity in his morals.
Yeah. And especially with his manipulation.
Yeah.
Of not.
Yeah. Or education.
If they look like you or Caleb, they probably need what they have.
Don't take from them. But Bo, she's got way too much.
I'm waiting for not to steal from Bo.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's going to happen this Thursday.
I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see the result of the Pillow Trove.
Yep.
I think we're going to see a lot of Ashley.
Yep.
And, I think if we don't see it this Thursday, the following Thursday, we're going to see the rose wine shipment. Because they got it. They read the letter 4 days, and it was supposed to be within a week. It's coming up quickly that the rose wine is supposed to get there to the gentleman.
Well, from the gentleman.
From? I thought it was to the gentleman.
No. The poisoned wine was coming from the gentleman to the bomb box for their use.
Okay.
So they're going after one of the other families.
Yeah. Which is where the town crier comes in.
Yeah. Controlling the news.
But it's about a week out, so we're going to see whatever happened that they didn't follow up on.
Potentially, yeah. I think that news will reach them after the pit fight 4 days hence.
Well, that's why I say either this episode or the next one.
Yeah.
We'll find out about the rose wine.
Yeah. I'm expecting this week's episode to be pretty combat heavy. Also, okay, here's something we can speculate on. What's in the sewer?
Oh.
I have an idea.
Okay, what's your idea?
Phase spider.
Oh. Yeah, I can see that.
Now, I will admit that this decision on my part is based on webs that have been described,
Mm-hmm.
but they still haven't seen the creature making them. And phase spiders are connected to Feywild. Just
put my own straw out there to grab that. But I do like that. Yeah, I think you're right. I think in the description, I knew it was going to be something akin to that. I didn't think phage spider directly, but I figured it was going to be. I figured something Fey. I figured Dan's going to like this. It's going to be something with a connection to the Feywild. So yeah, I can totally see that.
And phase spider is right in that challenge rating zone that
Yeah.
they're in right now.
So we're gonna see them do that fight, collect that bounty. We're gonna see them. I think it's gonna take us to the pit fights, either right up to or 2.
Yeah, possibly. I
4
think.
days.
Well, I think what's going to happen is they're gonna do the sewer thing. They're gonna get paid. Then the Knights of Requital are gonna need something from them.
I think something else might happen too.
What's that?
Well, not Liam. Liam's memory is shit per him, but Caleb remembers everything.
Yes.
How much you want to bet Caleb's going to look for a way up into that district so he can go to the smut shop?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. He's going to track the path and try and pop up that way.
Oh, from the sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and Sam mentioned that.
If I was playing Caleb, that's what my character would do.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he doesn't have prestidigitation, so he can't clean himself off once he gets there.
No, but he does have disguise self.
Disguise self doesn't cover the smell of shit. Oh, and we are coming up on the end of the show.
We are. And, well, we've already been talking speculation
Yeah.
about next week. Definitely actually heavy. Definitely combat heavy. Possibly the fallout of the rose wine. Possibly the fallout of the pillow trove. Probably another attempt at the smut shop.
Yeah.
And you think the Knights of Requital will pipe in?
Yes. I think that's going to be... If I'm right, and that is the arc of the campaign...
I think if they show up, it's going to be because Bo and Ford go looking for them again. I don't think they're going to come looking for these guys.
I think they will, especially after they clear the sewer, because that guy whose wife is in prison might think to hire them to get her out.
Okay.
And tonight is going to be a jailbreak.
Well, we'll see you guys at Talks.
Yep.
And,
See you next week.
yeah, bye.